Hello everybody, welcome back to the Klaus Restoration Crafts and Restore channel. Got the damn thing right. So today we're going to be talking about the topic. What is that topic, Crow? Do you know? Crow, what? I just said, do you know what today's show's about? So I think it's about watercolored pencils, ain't it? That ain't no damn watercolored pencil. Why don't you listen? It's a watercolored marker set. See, watercolors not only come in pencil form and in that little round makeup kit that you buy with that brush that's always worth crap. These things, actually I got an art attack one time. The brush was actually pretty good. Anyway, these are watercolor markers. You still want to use them on watercolor paper. Don't be using these watercolor markers or any other watercolors on print paper and typing paper and everything else and wonder why your stuff's turning out like crap. You use watercolor markers on watercolor paper. Jeez. You don't grab up just any piece of paper and start painting on it. It's like painting an oil painting on a sheep. You don't do it. If you want some watercolor markers, I recommend them. These things last a pretty good while too. I want to get me some of them watercolor markers and paint a seductive, sexy lady with them. And then put it on the Art Museum, get it sold for a couple of $100,000. I'll call it hoe on bread. Hoe on bread? I don't get it. Because when you see that hole, you're going to lose your bread. Get it? They call money bread. That's a slang for money. So even in a picture, if you see a good looking naked woman, you're still going to lose your money. I'd buy it. I'm painting it. I'll take a picture of it and keep it. Man, I'd buy that. It's a good sexy girl. Everybody likes those things. So get you some watercolor markers. You don't know what watercolor markers are? Well, watch the video and you'll find out what watercolor markers are. Maybe you want to go get you a big handful, a whole supply. You don't want to stop once you get them. Once you start, you can't stop. You can't quit. And guess what? There's also going to be a view later on about alcohol markers. And you can't drink them either, you alcoholic. The alcohol marker review will be later on. Find out about them. May like them better. But anyway, this one's about the watercolor ones. And now it's time for the joke. Hey, joke time. Why did Scooby-Doo run away from the monster? Because it's a naked old monster. Man, I like that. I like that one. Naked old monster. Woo! But that's a good one. That's a knee slapper if I had a knee. It's a foot slapper. I got feet, god damn it. Bastards. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. I think the monkey's going to take us out now. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye this time and get it done with. So goodbye, and here's the monkey. Goodbye, people. We'll see you next time on the Klaus Restoration Reviews channels. Now go take a look at these watercolor markers. All right, just had a forest fire over there. Had an old wire hanging in the floor, laid in the floor, and I had black electrical tape on it. Finally conked out. Now it's going to smell burnt rubber in here for Lord knows how long. The camera lady freaked out the Tuesday, but me and the Crow didn't freak out. And the guy with his hand up my ass didn't freak out either. So we'll see you next time. I got to go get that stuff cleaned up later on. I got another video or two to do. Clean that up, get the electricity back on that computer because that's the extension cord that just burned up. And we'll see you later next time. Maybe we should do a video on fire safety and about changing the damn wire when it goes bad instead of wrapping electrical tape around the damn thing. Moron! Well, anyway, I'm out of here. Goodbye. Camera lady, I'm trying to say goodbye. Camera lady. Camera lady. Goodbye, people. And I will see you next time. And don't worry about the house burning down. It's made out of ceramic tiles and cement. None of that burns. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Today I'm going to show you how to use some of these watercolor markers. When you buy your watercolor markers, don't get the 24 set, the 38 set, 50 set, however they come if they're the lower set. Get at least a display like this one here on the table. This is 100 markers. That way you can have a huge color selection to choose from. A larger color palette means better artwork. If you're serious about making your artwork look good, then the larger selection is a must. Watercolor markers are not that expensive. They dry very quick. To use watercolor markers, you can use watercolor papers, Bristol board, at least 250 GSM, or cardstock like this, that's also 250 GSM. When you're doing your drawing, you can use cardstock. Make sure at least one side has a matte finish. This side is slick and shiny. It will not work. This side is not slick and shiny. It will work. Cardstock like this will work because the watercolors will not soak into it so easily, and that's what you don't want. If you have a paper that the watercolors, say like printing paper or something like that, where the watercolors can soak into it, your artwork will look horrible. It will be blotchy, it will be overly saturated. You don't want that. When using the watercolor markers, you don't press them. You use them very lightly. And this is what I'm going to do today. I drew this earlier. This is a fast drawing. I'm not teaching people in this video. I'm not teaching you how to draw. I'm not teaching you to make a masterpiece of art like the Mona Lisa. I'm teaching you how to use watercolor markers and show you how they work. So the picture that I've drawn does not have to be perfection. So if you say, how come the picture is kind of iffy looking? Because it's not about the picture. It's about the markers. And here is a drawing my daughter is going to do.
A ladybird and a queen.
And now we will get started. I think I want to, and before we start, have an extra piece of paper so of the same kind, so you can test your marker on it. Make sure that's the right color that you want.
I checked my color already.
I'm going to make my dog gray. So I will start with this. This is what the watercolor tip looks like. It's like a paintbrush. Do not press it. Do not, even when you dot, you just barely touch. You don't want to destroy the tip. And the other side is very small, so you can use it to detail your art with.
And I test mine already. This is perfect red.
See this gray that I've chose, that's why you test it.
I test mine.
It's too dark.
It's good.
This gray is fine. That's why you have a test paper. When you do your drawing, one more very important thing I forgot to mention. When you do your artwork, you do it in pencil. You do not do it in ink or marker, because if you get that on these markers, the marker will be ruined, destroyed. You do it in pencil, and then outline it after the fact. And this is how it dries.
Don't put it on your skin also.
Yes, and don't put it on your skin. When you're doing watercolors, also remember you don't have to be perfect with what you're doing, because that's what makes watercoloring look good. Like little shades like this little white spot, this little white spot, I'm doing that on purpose. That's what watercoloring is all about. That's what makes it look like watercoloring. That's what makes it look good. And try to avoid going over the same place over and over. And try to avoid going over the same place over and over, because the more you do, the darker it will get.
Here's mine, ladybird red.
I'll show her ladybug.
Here's red skin, a fly wet. And he got bug-eyed eyes.
Huh? Your little bird had bug eyes. Like you.
I like these black for the spots.
The drawings, paintings, whatever, they're always choppy looking and iffy when you're doing them. It's the way they're supposed to look. They're not completed. In some cases, try to avoid going over your lines. Get close to them. Go back in here again to darken up spots you want to detail. And if the marker you have is not dark enough for your liking, for your detailing, then choose a shade higher. Shadowing, it's not easy to learn. You'll mess up sometimes because the sun is over here. So that means the shadowing will be on the back side.
It's my spots and his, whatever you call it,
Antennas.
antennas. And I forgot for his
See, when you lightly touch, you don't need to hammer down on this thing. Now I've got the gray.
small tip for his eyes.
His bowl will be a reddish color, so again we taste it, and that's fine. So we put the reddish color in here. I want to leave a little bit of room like that. I'll shadow it a little bit, but not too much. You can always go in and do your shadowing after the fact, or you can do it while you've got the marker. I will put his dog food in his dish, this color. And then his nose, which I could do his nose after I start the detail work because it's black. And I'll go ahead and put the nose. And then the eye, like that. We'll find a green over here for the grass. I will test it. This green is good for the grass. So use this more of the side. You don't use the tip. Use more of the side. This here is a test paper, is a paper for the video I'm making. So if you wonder what this is, it's a part of a snail that my daughter done, but she changed her mind about it, didn't complete it. See all these little white parts here? That's done on purpose. This is watercolors. You don't want to get everything 100% in. You go back, darken you up some spots. Go back, darken you up some spots, and then take a darker color for these parts of the grass. That's a little bit too light. I'm going to get the next one. I'll get the darker one. And I will go in here, get these darker parts of the grass. There's one here. And for the water hose that is there, yes, there is a water hose. The water hose also needs to be, Here's
my queen, the ladybird is in. I'm going to do the sun, but first the sky.
I just did the water hose, a darker green. We'll do the handle of the water hose, a darker shade of gray. Then we'll put some black on it here to contrast it. Yeah, it's a water hose. It was more in the picture, the water hose, but it come out picture because that snail was down here and I had to cut them off as much as possible, so I lost some on my water hose. Okay, here's the color for the fence. If you completely saturate a watercolor picture and don't leave these little white spots showing and things, it's not going to look right. A lot of people, when they watercolor, when they first start out, they think that everything has to be saturated, everything has to be gotten, don't leave no white spots, don't do this, don't do that. Then they find out, why does my drawing look kind of off? Well, that's why. Now if you wait till this dries, which it does really fast, and you go back in and you contrast your boards. Now if you're not getting the color you want, when you do this, you can get a darker brown out of the box, the next step up, and try that. But usually putting a second coat like this will solve the problem. Which is actually not a problem. Will solve the shading issue without having to go redo. And you don't want to overthink it. Just plop it on there, do some work, and then when you got enough, stop. Don't keep going. You would mess up your drawing very easily by thinking, I can do a little bit better, I can do a little bit better.
Here's my sky. It looks nice. I think I need to black place the sun.
We'll test this. That's good for the sky.
And I test
And what I'm doing with the sky is I'm just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm going to put a little bit of brown in the grass here in a minute. Right now, this is how I'm doing the sky. Leaving the white spots in.
Here's mine.
Like that.
I see.
And we can get a little bit here.
I'm not done yet with my sun. Let's see how good.
And I have a sun over here as well. Because my daughter told me to put in a sun. And I think I need to extend the brown down just a little bit on the fence.
It's black. Oops. Here's my sun. He's wearing sunglasses.
The sun wearing sunglasses. Perfection. I need a yellow for my sun also. So my daughter told me don't leave the sun out.
Don't forget the birds. The famous.
Don't forget the famous birds also. I was going to put a tree back here, but since this is just, like I said, not a masterpiece, it's fine. I need my really light brown, not that brown. I need a, where is, check this. It's too grainy. So go back to this. It's fine. Just put just a little bit. We're not, the intention is not to cover up the white. Just make a little bit of dirt here and there. Not too much. But now I will do a little bit of detailing. I'll go around my lines. I hope my hand is steady enough. I make furniture for a living. I'm building my daughter's playhouse now. My hands are overworked, a little bit jittery.
Look as you get some on your artwork. It looks
Now you don't want to go over every little detail in this. You just want to get the highlight parts, the parts that would really stand out. Like this. These movement marks.
Mine's almost done. Let's see, I got everything in it.
Don't take your lines all the way down either. Make some broken lines like this. Next, I will go over my dog. Now if you want to go back over him with a hair more, if you want to go back over him with a little bit more detail, a little bit more detail, then you can add more shading, you can add a darker color, a different color. Add lines like this, make it look more cartoony. And you can also take like a brown like this, add a little bit more color to your dog if you want. Give them some spots. Give them
Pouring the sand on.
Face the camera. There we go.
And he's done.
You're done.
Where's some spots? But I'm putting the spots on him. Spots are on the dog, just all over the place. They're everywhere on this kind of dog that I'm doing. It's according to how you want it. It's all up to you. You don't follow what someone else is doing. You make your own creation. You just get ideas from other people and how they do things. And so I'm barely touching this to the paper, and look how good it's going on. That's the technique. Just very lightly touch, very lightly touch, very lightly touch. So with that said, I will put one final thing in my grass. One final darker color in my grass. This will be finished. So you want to find the right thing without overdoing it. Sometimes you will overdo it. It's just the way it is. Sometimes you'll find out that your artwork will turn out really good, perfect. Sometimes you'll find it will turn out not so good. Sometimes you'll have a bad day. Sometimes you'll just be blocked and have to take a week or so off and then come back fresh later. That's just the way it is. But that's how you use the watercolor markers. You don't worry about white places showing through, because that's actually what you want. So remember, the white parts is what you want. This is watercoloring. This is not painting. The white parts is what you want. Fractal shading is what you want. The different colors is what you want. Overlaying the same color 2 to 3 times to make it darker for shading is what you want also. So if you're interested in watercolors, then I suggest you give it a try. You will really like it. But remember, as I said, do not put pressure on the tips of the markers when you're using them, especially the small side. It has a little piece of plastic around it and a little piece of felt sticking out the end to destroy that plastic. If you destroy the plastic piece on the ends of these small markers, they will no longer function properly, they will no longer work properly. You can't see it, but there is a thin piece of transparent plastic going all the way around this to make it rigid, and a very small piece sticking out the top that holds the watercolor or the ink if it's a felt tip pen. Do not apply pressure. I repeat, do not apply pressure on a watercolor marker or an alcohol marker, either one. Do not apply pressure. That has been today's review of the watercolor markers. So that has been today's review of watercolor markers. I suggest you buy some if you're interested in art. Give it a try. Practice with it, because it's the only way you're going to learn. You're never going to open a pack of these markers if you've never used them before and come out a professional. It takes time. Some people will pick it up faster Some people will pick it up slower. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Klaus Reviews. And I will see you next time on the Klaus Reviews, Crafts, and sometimes Restorations. Goodbye. Anyway, I can't concentrate. That camera lady over there jiggling everything. I'm getting sprung out, you won't believe. Pretty soon my wiener going to be 10 feet long. Anyway, Mucky. Hold. I'm actioning.